Nice to meet you, Mr. Katz.
Nice
Mr.
to
Bruce
meet you.
Katz from the P.A.J.U.
Yes.
Right, Palestinian and Jewish Unity.
Yes.
Thank you for coming at Francophonie-Amérique.
Thank you for
My name is Richard de Bessonet. Yes, sir. We're here to discuss different subjects linked to peace and I'd say rights, human rights.
Yes.
Right? So, Mr. Katz, you are co-founder and co-president of P.A.J.U. Can you tell us more about the P.A.J.U?
P.A.J.U is Palestinian and Jewish Unity,
Right.
and it was founded in November of 2000 by my late close friend and Palestinian brother, as I call him, Razek Faraj, who was forced from his home during the Nakba in 1948. At the age of 4, his father passed away in 1948, and he with his mother, his sisters, and his brother had to live in a cave for a couple of years, and eventually, thanks to the United Nations Relief Works Agency, he grew up in the Haisha refugee camp near Bethlehem, made his way through other parts of the world, Germany, Iran, eventually to Canada, where he met his French-Canadian wife. My wife is also French-Canadian. Basically...
well, I was going to ask you, what does the P.A.J.U do? And
well, we from the outset, we are a group devoted to the question of human rights,
Right.
more specifically, question of Palestinian human rights. Originally, we espoused the idea of two-state solution, state
from the Oslo agreements there.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Oslo agreements turned out to be basically a process which ended up dividing the West Bank, Palestinian West Bank, into three, basically dominated by Israel. And as the late Palestinian intellectual, American Palestinian intellectual Edward Said said, he considered it the Palestinian Treaty of Versailles, which basically was the capitulation of the liberation movement, and really the onset of even greater colonization of Palestinian territories in the West Bank. So unfortunately, today, looking at the reality on the ground, where you have about 700,000 Israeli settlers, ever increasing colonization of Palestinian lands, a security matrix which is almost unimaginable. I would invite people who are watching this interview to go on to the website of the Israeli human rights organization B'Tselem, where you have a series of maps that show exactly how basically the Palestinian West Bank has been carved into enclaves, basically enclaves within enclaves, and of course Gaza has been under blockade for the past 17 years.
Tell me something about the media right now. Have you reached a level of, let's say, what you'd like people to know? And about
it's an interesting phenomenon when you're dealing with the Palestinian question and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I've given many interviews over the years because we're now we just completed our 23rd year of existence as a human rights organization, Palestinian Solidarity organization. And I've given loads of interviews over the years.
Right.
Generally speaking, they're almost always exclusively to French language media, which seems an interesting phenomenon.
Yes.
And essentially, the Palestinian question has been censored by English language media. And I think that...
Do you have an explanation?
Yeah, I think that basically it's a result of really great pressure that's been exercised on media by specific lobby groups who simply don't want to see the question of Palestinian rights treated with any depth in the media.
Tell me about the values you were brought up with.
Yeah, well,
as a Jewish person from a Jewish community, what values?
Well, I think that for my family, for my parents, myself, and I think for friends I went to school with, Jewish friends I went to school with in Outremont, I grew up in Outremont. The traditions have always, for Jews, I think, in general, have always been humanism, Jewish traditions of humanism, of tolerance towards others. I think to really devotion to the principle of justice. I know for my parents that was.
Yeah, tell me about your mother. You were telling me.
Especially my mother would not tolerate injustice. Could not tolerate injustice, and I think that's a value that she imparted to me. As from childhood onward, you know, I still remember her, you know, her almost sometimes tirades towards injustices that she saw, or you know, even you know, around, not just in the world, but you know, she was someone who always defended. The idea of you know, of defending vulnerable people, of helping the poor, and you know, even though we ourselves were not a very wealthy family, but the idea of sharing was you know, if we had things that we could share with others, we always, my mother always thought, and my father as well, that you know, there were people who were less lucky than we were, despite limited you know, limited funds, and that we needed to share. And I think that is also part of Jewish culture and Jewish traditions.
Is there a project you'd like to tell us about concerning the future?
Yeah, because you know, as I said, the P.A.J.U was founded on the an idea of two states.
Right.
But we see very clearly that presently that's an impossibility because of the security matrix, because of the ever increasing colonization. So what we would hope to see is a state for all of its citizens, Israel, Palestine, without regard of religion, ethnicity, gender, you know, one person, one vote, absolute equality before the law for all citizens. Basically, that's it.
May I ask you if you would like to read something? We've discussed about Noam Chomsky, who has written a lot about the subject. Would you like to read something from lunch? Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Katz, for this interview.
My great pleasure.
And I'll let you read it.
Okay. So, why does one become an activist? An easy answer would consist of saying that one does not become an activist, one simply forgets that one is an activist. We are all born with feelings of compassion, of generosity, and love for others. We are all sensitive to the questions of injustice and discrimination. At the most profound parts of ourselves, we are humans who are preoccupied by things. We all wish to give more than what we receive. We all wish to live in a world where solidarity takes precedence over individualism and egotism. We all wish to share good things, to know the joy of living, of laughing, of love, and to share collective experiences.